Today on the news and why it matters, reports say Mitch McConnell does not have the votes to block witnesses in the Senate, but he says he will get them by Friday. Also, a resurfaced John Bolton clip presents quite a problem for his new story. And the 2020 Democratic candidates, how crazy can they get? The answer is infinite. We got a lot coming up, and it starts right now.
Bolton? Yeah, do it.
Welcome to the news and why it matters. I'm Sarah Gonzalez. Today, oh my gosh, I am really excited for this lineup. We've got all the hard hitters here at one table. We've got Glenn Beck back again. It's my lucky week. I don't know why you keep agreeing to be on the show. It's my lucky week. We've got Stuber Gear back in the house.
I mean, how lucky
again,
can
my
you
lucky
be?
week. I know.
It takes the shine off the whole thing.
And then the Daily Wire's Josh Hammer.
Sarah, I am honored to be here.
Thank you. I don't know how I'm going to keep up with all of the intelligence at this table, but I'm going to try. Before we get into it, we would like to thank our sponsor, My Patriot Supply. Glenn, I know there's a little bit in the news right now. There's like the coronavirus
So I talked to the coronavirus, an expert.
The actual virus you talked to?
I talked to him.
Oh my God.
That's
he's
weird.
like, that's right, it comes from beer. No, I talked to an epidemiologist from Harvard, and he's with the WHO, and there's going to be a big meeting tomorrow, the WHO. But this is, we really don't know what we're dealing with right now. But again, we're now over 70 million people that are quarantined in China. We don't know if their numbers are even true. This is going to impact, if it burns itself out here in a month or so, we're okay. But you're looking at companies like Apple. You're looking at the entire steel industry of China closed this week. If that continues, if this is like that, what happens to the economy? How do you survive? Even if it's 8 weeks where you're not, they closed all of the schools in Shanghai today. Imagine all the schools are closed. They're telling you don't just stay in the house. Are you prepared for that?
Yeah. And you're not going to know until it's too late unless you get My Patriot Supply. Right now, you can save 45% on their 2-week food supply. It's breakfast, lunch, dinners. It lasts up to 25 years in storage, so surely coronavirus will be done by that time. They ship it discreetly to your door with guaranteed 2-day delivery. You can go to preparewiththeblaze.com. Again, save 45%. That's quite a steal. You got to go to preparewiththeblaze.com. That is preparewiththeblaze.com. So Mitch McConnell says he is increasingly confident that, he doesn't have the votes yet to block any witnesses in the Senate, but he says that he will have them by Friday.
I think it's a mistake.
Do you?
I do.
Why is that?
Because Stu and I talked about this on the radio today. You are making John Bolton into a bigger story than he probably is by blocking him. You're giving his book all the hype, so when it comes out, everybody will want to see what he wanted to say, and everybody at CNN, MSNBC, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, everyone, NPR, will interview him and not ask tough questions. They will ask the questions that give them the answer they want and not press him. By putting him, I know this is bad, and you're probably great on this. This is bad legal strategy. They've won the case. What are you doing?
Right.
But part of this case, this is a political procedure. Part of this case is
Optics, right?
Win it with the American people. Yeah. By bringing him on and showing there's nothing there, again, there's nothing there, you dismantle all the boogeymen. And you can say, yeah, we had their witness that they had to have. There was nothing there, and he is acquitted. The book's nothing, the interviews afterwards are nothing, and the boogeyman is gone.
Stu, do you agree?
Yeah, I do actually. I mean, you're showing.
Say actually. Yeah, I finally agree with this guy over here.
I don't know why.
20 years, finally, one thing.
Well, I actually think we're totally in the minority here among conservatives, and I think the basis for that is that we're in this very much now news cycle thought process where right now it's either he testifies or we don't have to hear what he says. And we're losing sight of the fact that in a month or two, he's releasing a book and we're going to have to deal with all this stuff anyway. It's coming out. So why not release it and deal with it in a time where you have your expert attorneys who are going to be able to question him and press him on every little point that he makes if you think he's lying or saying something untrue. Number two, none of us believe that he's going to bring up something that's actually going to change your opinion on impeachment or not. The polling is excellent as far as bringing him on. The overwhelming majority of Americans want him to testify.
May I interject
Why not?
brand new video that was just sent to me from Mark Levin. Mark found this and he said he's going to talk about it tonight. We're going to be addressing it tomorrow, but I think we should address it right now. This is from Ukrainian or Radio Free Europe. And it's an interview with John Bolton. Now remember, this is in August of 2019. This is him talking about the phone call and the lack of a meeting with the president and President Zelensky. Listen to what he said in August.
A follow-up to my visit last year on Independence Day, where I was really honored to have a chance to participate in that, and now with the new government in Ukraine to see what might be possible going forward on a whole variety of fronts.
Do you plan to meet President Zelensky, and what messages did you bring to him?
Well, I will be meeting President Zelensky. He and President Trump have already spoken twice. President called to congratulate President Zelensky on his election and then on his success in the parliamentary election. They were very warm and cordial calls. We're hoping that they'll be able to meet in Warsaw and have a few minutes together because the success of Ukraine, maintaining its freedom, its system of representative government, a free market economy free of corruption, and dealing with the problems of the Donbass and the Crimea are high priorities here.
There's nothing more.
Priorities
what you have to recognize here is, okay, of course he's going to say he's working for the president. You can dismiss he was cordial, blah, blah, blah. What is he going to say? Oh, man, he was pushing him up against the wall. But what he said here was they're going to be meeting in Warsaw. Well, wait a minute. I thought until they released the money, there was going to be no meeting. That's one of the big points of the Trump defense is they were going to meet in Warsaw, and the only reason it didn't happen is because there was a hurricane and the president had to cancel. But it was already lined up, and it was at Zelensky's suggestion. It doesn't have to be at the White House. Let's just meet in Warsaw. There's verification.
Josh?
So really good points all around. Make it unanimous. I mean, I say call witnesses, honestly. I mean, I was here at BlazeTV with our friend Chad Prather a couple of days ago. This same exact topic came up in conversation. And basically what I said is as follows. I mean, if you read the Constitution, the House and Senate are supposed to do things that the Constitution talks about, you know, like pass laws and do things that we actually rightfully assign under the framers' vision of governance to Article 1 of the federal government. This year, that's just not going to happen, okay? Let's face reality. The Democrats control the House, Republicans control the Senate. It's also an election year. So people, by definition, in an election year are not looking to stick their neck out and actually do the dirty work of legislating. So given that that is the reality on the ground, I really think the Republicans actually have more to gain electorally in November.
I agree.
By playing this out. What is the worst thing that John Bolton could possibly say? We know already that he disagreed as a matter of policy.
I think we lost your mic. So let me go to really quickly. Joe Manchin.
Wow, that must have been a bad point. I couldn't hear him, but I must have been bad.
Democratic Senator Joe Manchin actually agrees with this whole let's call witnesses thing. He says that he would consider calling Hunter Biden. He's, mind you, the only Democrat who has said this. Let's listen to him.
But, you know, Willie, I think someone has to ask the question, is this a constitutional trial or a political trial?
Is Hunter Biden a relevant witness, Senator?
You know, I think so. I really do. I don't have a problem there because this is why we are where we are. Now, I think that he can clear himself, what I know and what I've heard, but being afraid to put anybody that might have pertinent information is wrong, no matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. And not go home and say, well, I protected one, I was afraid. No, if it's relevant, then it should be there.
So, Josh, not to make you repeat yourself all the way, but you were saying that you were on Chad Prather's show, and you kind of said the same thing. You agree with these guys here that we should be calling... And Joe Manchin. Democrat Senator Joe Manchin, that we should be calling witnesses.
Democrat Senator Joe Manchin did in fact say that. The reality is that Republicans have more to gain electorally from subpoenaing Hunter Biden than they stand to lose from subpoenaing John Bolton. To me, it's a very easy trade-off here. We know for a fact that John Bolton disagreed with how President Trump conducted that phone call, in theory, as a matter of policy. He didn't say that on the clip we just saw, but we know as a matter of policy that he probably did. We know for a fact he disagreed with Rudy Giuliani and Lev Parnas and all the other shenanigans that were going on there. But the basis for impeachment, what the Democrats are saying, is fundamentally that this phone call was about 2020 and taking out a political rival and not about corruption in Ukraine. Subpoenaing Hunter Biden is directly relevant to that narrative and can flip the entire paradigm from 2020 to 2016.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because in thinking about this, the whistleblower shows the deep corruption. And I actually want to share an idea with you off the air because I'd like your legal advice on
For free, or
on how to make sure this is exactly buttoned up and right on something that we are working on for next Thursday for a special we're going to do. But Biden is, you're right, really, really important. But he is also a total, complete disaster. Okay. And he could actually turn it around and make it look like we're picking on the poor Hunter Biden. I don't think so, but it's a possibility where the whistleblower, well, now the whistleblower is a hero. The whistleblower is untouchable. The whistleblower is angelic. When you find out the real story of the whistleblower, doesn't that really turn things in a much more sure way than Hunter Biden?
Yeah, quite possibly, right? I mean, like I personally, as a duty, I feel like it's my duty as an informed citizen to know exactly how this purported whistleblower coordinated with Adam Schiff, right? I mean, that whole timeline to me, the narrative there is absolutely fascinating. I mean, and just as a matter of pure politics, Glenn, I think you're exactly right. I mean, if Republicans subpoena the whistleblower, they can make a compelling anti-deep state political argument at the ballot in November. And I think that has real political salience. I think the American people will gladly warm up to that political argument and put the Democrats in the position of defending this whistleblower process. That's not an easy thing to defend.
Do you have any idea legally how this thing is going to work? I mean, Mitch McConnell, I think, is making a real mistake if he says none. But do we get one if they say we want Biden? Okay, well, then we want this one. And is there horse trading, or how does that work? Do you have any idea?
Well, there's no law on this, right? I mean, it's all it's all internal Senate procedures. They can basically do, legally speaking, whatever the heck they want to do. They'll probably end up horse trading, is what I would imagine, though.
Now, I have a plumber who did some work but did not give me the right price. How do I get that? A little more legal advice.
You have to wonder, Glenn, with this new kind of resurfaced
He's
clip,
one of the best legal minds.
I know he is.
with John Bolton, now that this has resurfaced, do you think that changes Democrats' minds at all? Or I'm sorry, Republicans' minds at all on whether or not they want to do the trade with Bolton for Hunter Biden?
No, because I think you have, and he has become Newman to me. And I've always enjoyed the Seinfeld Newman, you know.
Great character.
Great character. I've always enjoyed it. Never really fully appreciated it because I didn't have a Newman in my life until Romney. Romney is Newman to me. And I can't stop saying his name like that. Romney. That's all you have to say because of Romney. I have no idea. There's those people like him that will just go their own way. I think he is not popular in Utah. Yeah. Mitt Romney, not popular in Utah? That's a big deal.
All right, when we come back, Joe Biden tells another Democratic voter, vote for someone else. And he's a really old guy, so his VP pick is really important. And other crazy things Democrats say. We'll be back.
What is Romney polling in Utah? I haven't really
seen. It's underwater. It's like he's literally underwater.
Yeah.
Literally underwater. I mean.
Hey, before we get back into the conversation, we want to thank our sponsor, Rough Greens. So, Glenn, I know your dog is like the pickiest eater ever.
No, you have no idea. We used to, when I was on vacation for Christmas, we all would be like, tomorrow is your turn to feed Uno. I'm not kidding you. He does not eat. We bring him to the vet, and every time he's got to gain weight. We know We know he won't eat. And we would have to literally, if you moved, you would go into where his bowl is and you'd feed him. And then sometimes you'd have to get him started by holding some in your hand and hand feeding. And then you just stayed still. Don't go into that room. Don't leave that room because he'll eat as long as you don't break his attention and you're standing there. If you move, he'll stop eating and he'll follow you away. I'm telling you, last night, again, every day it's the same thing. We put the VitaSmart in it now, which it's live, okay? Yeah. It's everything else is dead in dog food. And so it has all the good, antioxidants and probiotics, enzymes, all that stuff.
Vitamins.
And so we put it in there, and apparently it tastes really good. I'm not kidding you. He runs to the bowl. Yesterday we were in the kitchen, and Tanya said, "Who wants dinner?" And he ran to the bowl and waited. I mean, it's crazy. And it actually has changed him as well. He's happier. He wants to play all the time. I mean, it's changed him. It's good.
So even if your dog is not a picky eater, Rough Greens, like we said, they've got the probiotics, enzymes, vitamins, minerals that your dog needs. They need it because they're not getting it from the dry dog food that you're getting them, even if you're spending like $1 gazillion on that dog food.
We're buying the best dog food. It still doesn't have that stuff in it.
Yeah. So you got to go to roughgreens.com/blaze. That is RUFF greens.com/blaze, or you can call 833-MY-DOG-33. Glenn, you might want to consider, I don't know, like getting your dog a therapist or something as well.
No, I got him Rough Greens. He's totally fine.
It just seems weird.
He was like, he hated it, apparently. We had another dog, a female, Ella, and she just recently died. And she was the dominant one because she was there first, and then he came in like 3 years later. And oh my gosh, when she died, it was like a bad marriage. All of a sudden, he's happy. He's doing stuff. Before, he was just like laying on the floor like, I'm married literally to a... And
yes,
I can't. I mean, what am I going to do? She dies, and he's got a whole new lease on life. And now he has food he likes. He's living like a king.
Living the life
yeah, he's living
now.
it large.
Joe Biden was speaking in Iowa to a Democrat voter, talking about climate change. Obviously he was at a town hall. The voter came over, wanted to speak to him about pipelines. And Joe Biden had a really interesting approach for dealing with this particular voter. Watch.
We're going to support you if you win the nomination because we got to get rid of Trump. But what are we going to do about climate change? Now, you say you're against pipelines, but then you want to replace these gas lines. That's not going to work. We got to stop building and replacing pipelines. We're going to go vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much, sir. We're going to have you here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm going to vote you in the general if you treat me right.
I know. Well, I'm not.
Well, can I have a picture?
You're asking a picture of me. You're coming up and telling me you don't support me.
No.
My plan. Yeah, you did. You said
I said I will support you in the general.
In the general. I'm looking for a primary.
We're happy to get a number.
That's what I'm looking for, okay?
Just because we're trying to get it.
You believe that Bernie can do something by 2030?
I'm actually supporting Tom Steyer.
Thompson, well, that's good. He's the guy that did
Thanks
more
so much,
coal
sir. We have a long line right here.
The entire country big.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Happy to get input.
You got the right guy.
Can we get a picture?
It seems like a very combative way to treat a Democrat voter.
I swear to you, he doesn't want to win.
Yeah.
He's practically wearing a shirt that just says, please don't vote for me. I'm the wrong candidate. Whatever the excuse is I need to give you, I'll give it to you. Don't vote for me.
I mean, literally,
I don't understand.
Literally, he has been asked, make your case. I think it was in Iowa a while back. They said, will you make your case to the Iowa voters because things are going well right now? He said, no, I'm not going to do it.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
It's such a bizarre move.
And Bernie Sanders, he makes Bernie Sanders look cuddly.
Yeah.
He does. And I do want to just throw in, this guy first was identified as just a Democrat voter. Later, they found out that he actually he's a former state lawmaker. He is a Democrat. So anyone who was saying, oh, he's just a plant, he's trying to, mess things up. No, he's a Democrat voter. He was in office in Iowa, and still he gets treated like that.
I mean, I can't imagine.
Nice, yeah.
Look, you want to be everyone's number two. I learned this in radio. That sounded bad. I learned this in radio because I used to program top 40 radio stations, which were always the number one stations in the market. And it was never because they were the favorite station. It's because everybody had a favorite, which was a niche, but they knew they could get the hit here. And so they were number 2 to everyone, which made them number 1. He's saying, oh, I'm your number 2? Get out of here. That's crazy.
Yeah, because
it's crazy, especially in a caucus state.
Right. Well, because if you think about it, if you treat all of those people that way, and it's the general election, and Joe Biden is the nominee, and it's snowing or something, does that man go to the polls still to cast a vote for Joe Biden?
Yeah, that's a really weird interaction. It's like the only thing I could think of is maybe either his aides or somebody else had told him that this guy was a plant, so he was very suspicious of him or something. But this is not the first interaction that's turned out this way. I think he's just honestly has a major problem dealing with people. And this is Joe Biden's election to lose. It's just that's what he does best. He loses best. That's his best feature. He needs to figure out a way to turn this around. And right now, they're just trying to hide him. Yeah. Because every time he goes out in public, this stuff happens.
Yeah. Josh, what are your
So
thoughts?
there's so much wrong with what we just witnessed, but I think it's worth emphasizing the nature of the Iowa caucus. Glenn, you were there in Iowa, big for Senator Cruz in 2016. I was there as well, also caucusing for Senator Cruz.
It's crazy.
This is not a primary voting process where you walk into a booth and just pull levers. So however much that individual thinks that he's voting for Tom Steyer, and however much Joe Biden might think he's voting for Tom Steyer, you never know until you get to the caucus and you actually do the caucusing process.
Yeah, you sit there. They try to sway
exactly.
you. Yeah. This guy's not going to be swayed. In fact, he will sway others, saying, "I talked to him."
Exactly.
He's an SOB, man. I don't know what he's thinking.
But if Biden is calm in that interaction, right? He's like, "I'm worried about pipelines." Well, Tom Steyer's the last guy in the world you should be voting for if you're worried about pipelines.
He did say that.
Yeah, I know. But he did it after he insulted him and almost pushed him over.
And the guy said, "I would vote for you if you're good to me." Right. That's what he actually said. I would vote for you if you're good to me. Holy cow.
He just has some sort of temperament issue.
The thing is,
he's 80.
Yeah, but so is everyone else in this race.
Well, and speaking of that, I want to make sure that we have time to get to this. Speaking of that, Joe Biden, obviously aware of how old and fragile he is, he made a remark also about making sure that the VP pick was right because he's a really old guy. Watch.
I can think of at least 8 women, at least 4 or 5 people of color that I think are totally qualified to be Vice President of the United States. But for me, it has to be demonstrated that whoever I pick is 2 things. 1, is capable of immediately being president, because I'm an old guy. Okay? No, but I'm serious. Look, thank God, I'm in great health. I work out. No, I'm serious. I work out every morning.
Serious, I'm old.
I'm in good shape.
Don't laugh it off. I could die at any time.
He probably would have been just fine letting them laugh at it.
Yeah. No, don't laugh at that. I could die at any time. I'm sure I work out, but look at me. Seriously.
That's just in his speech pattern. He always cuts off laughter or applause and says, "I'm serious." Yeah. But that is actually a likable moment for me with the Biden. He's just trying to be funny. He's playing it up, and he's saying something that everyone's thinking. I think it's smart. He's leaning into that. The other interaction, total opposite.
Well, the second interaction I thought was funny until he doubled and tripled down.
Yes,
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
You should talk to my doctor. I just got some tests back.
we were 5 seconds away from showing medical records to the camera, being look at my terrible cholesterol levels. But
it was funny at first, but then it became are you trying to tell us something?
In which he often tries to tell us.
Yes.
Like he's being held hostage.
Yeah, I don't think he's...
that was painful, actually, by the end of it, I thought.
What was that poll that you showed today, or not the poll, but the study showed today, that 38% chance that this goes to a brokered...
Yeah, it was an election model where they've said 37% chance that Biden wins, 36% chance that it goes to a brokered convention.
What was Bernie at?
Bernie was at 18.
Oh, wow, interesting.
And those are the DDHQ model.
Jeez.
Well, those guys are good.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Back in a minute.
I think that's very feasible.
Because Bernie won't quit. So.
Especially...
Hey, before we go, want to let you guys know about a really special offer we have going on.
Very special. Started as a joke.
Well, it's a really special offer. Nancy Pelosi she had the impeachment pens, right, Stu?
Yes, and now we have Nancy Pelosi Sucks impeachment pens. If you go to Nancy Pelosi suckspen.com.
Was Nancy Pelosi Sucks already taken?
I don't know. It's a good question. It had to be, right? A couple thousand people want that. But these look just like the impeachment pens. except it just says the word sucks in the same font afterwards. It's a nice little thing to show where you stand on the impeachment. And we're going to give Glenn some to take to the State of the Union.
I'm going to the State of the Union next week, and I'm taking a box full. I'm handing them out like baby cigars. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go, I'm going to hand them to everybody in Congress and the Senate that I can hand them to.
These are real. You can have your own.
They really, it's not a joke.
For a price,
yes.
I will hand one to Nancy Pelosi.
Yes!
NancyPelosiSucksPen.com. Tune in for overtime.